where we're going to fly right now. And we're hovering above the center of the country. Let me just spin this around a moment so that the map looks like it should, oriented correctly, I mean. It doesn't seem to be doing that. So what we're going to do is this area here is, you can see actually very nicely from the satellite view how close the desert is to Jerusalem and the Judean mountains. But let's get us down on the ground so that we can already start our hike, because that's really what we're here to do today. And here we go. And that looks like it's frozen a little bit, so we're going to unfreeze ourselves. Now, we are on the southwestern corner of the city of Jerusalem. There's a big hospital over the ridge over here called Hadassah. Watch out for these bike riders. There's some great mountain biking trails in the area. We're going to actually cross the street over here, and this police officer is kind enough to stop traffic for us. And what we'll do is we'll cross the street, go down some stairs, and on our trail, we should be meeting our guide. So let's see if we can go over and cross the street together. All right, here we go. Just watch out for the bikers when we cross the street. Just starting out on a beautiful morning hike to an incredible spot nestled in the Judean mountains, just under the shadow of, on one side, Hadassah Hospital in Karm, and on the other side, Moshav Ibn Sapir. Right down below in the valley is an incredible water hole. It's a nice natural spring, and we're going to see if it's not too cold to jump in. So we're going to walk for about 20 minutes or so in the forest here. Not a really big, more like some shrubbery, not so much a forest. But there's some great olive trees over here. These are really old olive trees, at least 250, 300 years old. And what we're going to do is look down below, and you see the top of the well. Remember that? So we're down in the valley in Nahal Sorek, not too far from where we started, maybe about 25-minute hike. And we found the source of the water. Let's go check it out. Here we are in Ein Chindak. We are about to check out how deep and how cold the water is. So, should we check out the cave? I think so. All right, here we go. We're gonna go in. There's a bit of a ledge here. It looks like they made a dam or something to collect the water. And, oh man, that's cold. Okay, it's not bad. It's a bit of a dead end there. If we turn this way, ooh, it looks like it continues. Let's see how far it goes. This is not bad. What can I tell you? All right, so hopefully we won't find anything in the water here. Should we see what it looks like with the lights on? 1, 2.
Wasn't that guy scared he was gonna get lost?
I was a little scared I was gonna get lost, but
very cool. When you come here, I promise, if you're interested, we're gonna come here and there won't be a single other tourist here. I can tell you that much. This is not on your daily schedule after Masada. Crouching down here. And whoever carved this back in the Byzantine period seems to have gotten to a dead end right over there.
So that's my middle daughter, Shira. And then soon you'll see my youngest daughter, Adi, again.
Oh boy.
All right. Meryl's leading the way.
Meryl is my wife.
Adi, how's the water?
How does ice feel on your face?
Pardon, don't worry.
Okay, it's quite deep. Quite deep. Yeah, Adi. Quite deep. Oh, I can't go any further.
Yes, you can.
No, I'm on the elevator. Did this happen on the side or did we go back?
It's getting a little shallower here now.
Remember the well we saw from above? Now we're inside.
And just above us is the opening to a well that would have come down and taken water from the spring where we are right now.
Okay, getting deeper. Here, like the tour guide. Deeper. Deeper.
Mommy's stealing my job.
No more deep. And no deep. No deep. Deeper. Deeper. Stand on your toes. Okay, there's a rock here. I stood on it. It picks me up.
Folks, for tours, just register and talk to Meryl.
Oh, man. Daddy. Daddy, can you hurry up? No. Let me splash you. No, you're not. It's getting. Oh, man. Daddy, stop doing that. I'm trying to get to the life. The life.
Well, we're out. That was amazing. We are standing underneath a fig tree here. You can see the fig. And this is an incredible spot. I wanted to share it with you. And the truth is, there's several of these natural springs throughout the Judean hills here. We could make a whole day of it, and it would be an amazing time. Well, until I can show you in person, great seeing everyone.
So that was really nice. I mean, truthfully, for those of you who've been to Israel, I bet you have not been to that spot. And for those of you who are interested, when you come, it is a lot of fun, as long as you're not claustrophobic. But as long as you have your bathing suits on, keep them on, and your water shoes, because we're gonna go check out the desert. Now you might say, why do we need a bathing suit in the desert? I'm glad you asked. And we are landing right now on the edge of the Judean desert, one of our 3 deserts that we have in the country. And we're in a nature reserve called Ein Gedi. Now, Ein Gedi, beautiful waterfall indeed. There's a group here that's going to start to go hiking. Ein Gedi is a nature reserve that has 2 main streams in it and natural springs. One is called David's Stream, and the other is called Arugot Stream. Now, David's Stream is the one that everybody does when they come to Israel. It's a very nice, it's not too difficult. It's really, there's some nice water holes, nothing too deep or too dangerous, but pleasant. And it's perfectly fine, but that's not for us. We're gonna go find the more adventurous one. But I did wanna mention, have you guys heard of a guy named King David? Does the name ring a bell? Yes, okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Great. King David was this guy 3,000 years ago in Jerusalem, according to our tradition. And, well, you may be surprised to learn he wasn't always a king. He used to be a shepherd. And, well...
Oh, wait, is it David and Goliath?
Exactly. Same David, same guy. And when David takes care of Goliath, the Jewish king, a guy named Saul, or in Hebrew, Shaul, well, he had a bit of a jealous streak, and everybody started loving David more than they loved the king, King Saul. And King Saul actually wanted to do some serious damage to David and chased him all the way to Ein Gedi, where we are, the springs of Ein Gedi. That's what it says in the Bible. And King Saul went into one of these caves over here, maybe this cave, I don't know, I wasn't there. And he doesn't notice that David is hiding in the corner. Anyway, the king goes to sleep. David sneaks over to the king and snips the edge of his coat, just to let Saul know in the morning when he wakes up and he sees that his coat has been snipped, that David was there and David could have done some serious harm and didn't. Saul wakes up, sees this, and he realizes, oh, what have I done? I've been so mean. Maybe I should forget about it. And he does. And they actually embrace, and everything is good. at least until it's not. But at that point, they come together. But you know what? That's a whole story for another day. You know what? Why don't we do a bit of a hike out of that stream, and we'll land right over here on this incredible landscape. It really is desert landscape. Oh, by the way, this is where we're going. You can see my cursor going back and forth. That's called Arugot Stream, or without the accent, Arugot Stream, Nachal Arugot. And over here, on this side, is David Stream. That's where we just were. And we climbed up and over down the side of the mountain. But what we're looking at right now is the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea, which is the saltiest body of water that we know of in the world. It's also the lowest point on Earth at 400 meters. That's 1,200 feet below sea level. And we're looking all the way across the lake to another country altogether. That's the country called the Kingdom of Jordan. Now, we could talk about the Dead Sea for hours and hours, but we won't, because we actually, while a lot of people visit the Dead Sea when they travel, not a lot of people come to the other part of the hike, to the Arugot Stream. Let's go check it out. All that water, and it's still the desert. Check out the dragonfly.
In the Torah portion, Hukat Balak, we know that, among other things, Moses is going to get pretty angry at the people. And when Moses gets angry at the people who are demanding water, all Moses had to do was hold his staff to the heavens and, well, water would come forth. That wasn't going to do for Moses. And he takes his staff and he hits the rock and water comes out. Did it look like this? I don't know. But if this happened in the desert, I'm going to become a believer. Fortunately for me, not going to the top of those mountains over there, but we are going to look for some secret hidden water spots. Let's see, which one are we going to? We came from there. We're going there. Nice. So we've come to the end of the trail, at least as far as Nachal Arugot lets us hike. And we're still looking for the source of the spring in this area. If you listen, you can actually hear where it's coming from. And there it is. The kind of animals that you can find if you're walking around Nachal Arugot, and they seem to be a little bit smarter than we are. They know to stay in the shade and not be out in the sun. Primarily, you're going to find ibex. These are these local mountain goats, officially the Nubian ibex, about 2.2 to 2.6 feet at the shoulder. You'll recognize them, they're tan color in this area, and you can find them all the way down from Eritrea and Ethiopia, all the way up to Lebanon. They do have a white line across their stomach. The males have a dark line across their back. And you'll notice that the males have a very long and twisty horns that double back. In Hebrew, we call the ibex the el, and the way they make their way through the desert is that the females will be in large herds. Males
It's hard to hear because of the water.
Their own in packs of about 8 or so. And during the breeding season, you'll see the two males come at it as they try and show off for the women folk, and they're going to go ahead and crash horns.
I know the water was pretty loud there. I'm not talking for much more. Soon we're going to get wet. Don't worry.
You can also find the hyrax. The hyrax is this little rock rabbit type creature, about that big. Interesting enough, this fuzzy little creature has very close, actually pretty far relations with the elephant. Genealogically, they're connected. Go figure. If you were to wander a little bit farther around, you could find foxes and you could find wolves. There's a bunch of animals you could find here. And the kind of plants and trees that they have, you could find an acacia tree, a poplar tree. You can find various reeds along the waters. There is so much to do here, but I've talked way too much. Now it's time to get.
Did that hurt?
No, it was okay. It was a little bumpy. A little bumpy. That was really
It's like
deep.
a water slide.
Yeah. What do you think? Should I jump? Who thinks they should jump?
Me.
Me.
Okay. I know it's a hard job, but somebody's got to do it. That was a lot of fun. And really, I'm telling you, when you come and visit, that's the hike you want to do. It is perfect. It's got beautiful desert views. It's got a little bit of challenge. It's lots of freshwater pools, a lot of fun. But you know what? You can't have all fun all the time. It does get a little hungry. So what we're going to do is we're going to fly to a place that's a little bit more familiar. We were actually there last time we met. And what we're going to do is not see your typical views like this beautiful beach that we have in Tel Aviv. Really a nice place to come and to hang out along the Mediterranean Sea. But we're going to go and take a walk through one of the markets that there are, the markets that they have in Tel Aviv. There's a more common market called the Carmel market, or Shuka Carmel, which lots of people go to, and it's perfectly fine. But that's not for us. We're going to go to, well, you know what? I think we have a guide waiting for us, so let's go check it out. Just around the corner and down the block from where we are right now is the original sand dune. It's no longer a sand dune, but it was a sand dune back in 1909 when the city of Tel Aviv was founded. It's also right at the location where the state of Israel was founded on May 14th in 1948. But that's a story for another day. Right now, we're located on a street called Levinsky Street. This street is one of the first streets in the city of Tel Aviv. Within about a decade and a half, this street was already up and running in the mid-1920s, and it was the heart and soul of the workers' area. This is where they would come, well, to get their food. Until today, Levinsky Street, which is part of the Neve Sha'anan neighborhood and continues towards the Florentine neighborhood of the city of Tel Aviv, is, well, as you can tell, a working-class neighborhood and a working-class street. And where we are right now on Levinsky Street is the heart and soul of the street, what is locally known as Shuk Levinsky. The Levinsky market, as you can see, looks a little different than, well, some of the other markets you might think of when you think about Israel, like Machane Yehuda or the Carmel market. It's a living and breathing place, and recently they've actually just closed it off so that we can have a pedestrian area, even though we're in the midst of a little bit of a crazy time. Usually it would actually even be more busy than what it is right now, but because of the reality at this point in December of 2020, well, things are a little bit more subdued, but as you can tell, not by much. This is where people are going to come and get the best food that Tel Aviv has to offer. Not just you and me who are going to buy some burekas for our home, but this is where restaurants are going to come for the finest in the delis or the spices and a whole array of things that you can only imagine. Now, the city itself, which was born out of the waves of immigration that are going to be coming in the aftermath of the third aliyah, the third wave of immigration into the fourth aliyah of the 1920s, are, among other things, going to include Jews who arrived from Greece and from the Balkans in general. And as time goes on, we will see that the cornerstone of this street has Jews who have arrived from Greece and from Turkey and from Persia and from Iraq and from Libya and from Georgia and from, well, all over the Jewish world. And not necessarily the Jewish world that we sometimes think about when we think about the old country. And what we're going to try and do today is go to 1, 2, or 3 different places where we can taste some of the food, but more important, we can meet the people. All right. So what do you think? Should we go to 1 or 2 places on Levinsky Street? Let's check it out. Maybe we can meet some of the people. It could be nice. And the food's delicious. Let's check it out.
We're about to enter into a deli called Chaim Raphael. Chaim Raphael is the grandfather who started this along with his wife Esther. But we're going to meet some of the family. Hopefully they're not too busy, and we'll taste what they have to offer. Shalom לכולם, מה שלומכם?
Oh, by the way, if there's going to be just Hebrew, there's going to be subtitles. So you're going to have to read along, and hopefully it's going to be clear enough. I'm always happy to explain.
I'll understand.
Okay.
So I just want to, you know what, we're inside, so I'm going to put my mask back on here. So right now we're in Chaim Raphael's place, and we actually have the whole family, and we're fortunate it's early enough. It's not too busy. I was here earlier in the week, and it was crazy. I couldn't even speak to them. But who we have here, we can start with Tzadik over there, and Shlomi, and over here we have Chaim. So Chaim Raphael, same name. The place isn't named after him, but it's actually named after his grandfather, after Tzadik's father. So where's your grandfather from?
מסלוניקי, ניצול שואה, שהגיע אחרי המלחמה, הגיע לפה לתל אביב בלי שום מקצוע, בלי שום השכלה, בלי שום רכוש, והתחיל לאט לאט בעבודה קשה חריצות אין קץ, התחיל לשקם את החיים שלו אחרי המלחמה. היה לו אהבה מאוד גדולה לאוכל ולאנשים, והוא שילב בין שתי האהבות האלה. אבא כמובן אחרי שהשתחרר, גם כל הילדות שלו תמיד היה פה ותמיד עזר לסבא, ואיך שהוא השתחרר מהצבא הוא אמר אני אגיע לכמה שנים, יעזור קצת לסבא ואחר כך אני אמשיך את דרכי, והוא כאן היום גם כמעט 50 שנה שהוא נמצא פה איתנו.
Wow. And Chaim, how long have you been working here?
אני גם אחרי הצבא, כמובן, לפי המסלול המשפחתי, הגעתי לפה ישר. אני כבר 25 שנה פה. עבדתי, היה לי זכות גדולה מאוד, זכות ענקית לעבוד עם סבא, שכל יום שהייתי איתו אני באמת הרגשתי שזה מתנה שלא הרבה זוכים לה. לעבוד עם סבא ולהיות איתו איש מאוד מיוחד, שלמדנו ממנו הרבה.
You could see the sparkle in his eye when he spoke about his grandfather.
היום אנחנו פה עם אבא ועם כל הצוות שאנחנו עובדים גם למעלה מ-15 שנה עם אותו צוות קבוע, שזה בעצם משפחה אחת גדולה.
I think that's one of the things that makes Chaim Raphael's place so special, because you really feel that. Aside from people and food, what else was he passionate about?
סבא אהב מאוד לנגן, ולנגן באקורדיון ומפוחית, וכל הרגעי עצב אחרי המלחמה שהיו, והיו רגעי עצב די גדולים וקשים, תמיד הוא מצא את הפינה החמה עם הנגינה והשירה, וגם במלחמה, מה שהציל אותו זה הידע שלו בנגינה עם אקורדיון ועם הפוכית.
So, Chaim, what do we have here? What are we looking at?
כמו שאמרתי לך, אנחנו עדיין משמרים את המסורת של הבית, מסורת של האוכל הבלקני, אוכל בלקני, יהודי בלקני, יווני, טורקי, בולגרי. יש מגוון של זיתים שאנחנו מייבאים מיוון. כמובן שמאוד נוח לנו להסתדר עם השפה ביוון, ואבא נוסע כל עונה לחברים שלו ביוון ודואג להביא את זה קלמטה שמגיע מקלמטה, לוס, טסוס, חלקידיקי אוליבס, כל הזיתים המיוחדים האלה שמגיעים מיוון.
And what are other things besides olives I see that you have cured here?
חצילונים מיוחדים.
Wait, those are eggplants over there? Oh, can I taste one? All right, so we have these were eggplants. Okay, it's a small eggplant, I guess. Oh my God. Wow, that is really good. And what else do we have? Let's see. Any hot peppers?
Hot peppers with olives.
Wow.
Very, very hot.
Wow. Should I do this on camera? I'm not sure. Let's try it. Okay. It's got some kick to it. That's enough for now. Olives. Do you do it all by yourself, or do you send it somewhere?
זה הכל מגיע מיוון, ויש פה דברים שאנחנו עושים פה במקום, כמו הכרוב הכבוש, המלפפונים החמוצים, הלפת, כל ההחמצות האלה שאנחנו עושים בהחמצות, וכמו שלמדנו בבית, בסגנון הבלקני.
Oh, so how did you learn at home? What do you do in order to make it just right?
הרבה אהבה והרבה תשומת לב.
A lot of love, a lot of attention.
הרבה תשומת לב והרבה רק לעשות את הדברים באמת מכל הלב.
Okay, got it. So in addition to the oil and the vinegar and the water that you put in the jar, you also need the love and attention and so on. So besides the olives, what kind of cheese do we have?
קשקבל זה גבינה בלקנית קלאסית שבבלקן אוכלים, אבל מטובל, קשקבל מעיזים, קשקבל מכבשים.
So can we taste that one? Let's see it's for you. Oh, wow, great. Okay, let's see. This one.
So you can understand English?
סופו, שזה קצת צפונית לסלוניקי, במחלבה קטנה מאוד, מאוד תעשייתי, דברים מאוד מאוד מיוחדים שהם עושים.
Wow, so they make everything by hand. That's amazing. That's really great. Listen, the last thing I want to ask you before we go, and this is amazing. I love coming back to this place. Hey, Shlomi, מה נשמע?
שלומי make salmon now.
What are you going to do?
שהוא ממליח אותו.
He's going to salt the salmon?
זה בעצם סלמון. שעשוי כמו על הקרטה של פעם, בשביל בשמן חתוך ומוגרם.
Chaim, so I know that your grandfather, Chaim, when he came, wasn't just concerned about food, but also speaking to young people. As a survivor giving testimony, but he also organized the neighborhood with music. What kind of music? Mausha, there's a safa. Oh, and he's saying in Ladino, right? Because, of course, he's Sephardic, and that's where they came from. That was the tradition. Do you sing in Ladino as well? No, you're not going to sing for us? Okay, maybe not. Okay, maybe next time we'll get Chaim to sing for us. טוב, חיים, תודה רבה. צדיק, תודה רבה לכם.
So that was Chaim's grandfather who was singing at the very end. Did anybody catch the name of the language in which Chaim's grandfather used to sing? Did any of you catch that at the end? It starts with an L. The language was called Ladino, and Ladino is a Jewish language. It's a Jewish language. It's not Hebrew, but it's a Jewish language that was created by Jews who were living in Spain. And they were living there for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, even thousands of years. But there was a specific time as Jews tried to create a language that they could use amongst themselves for business, for everyday usage, that wasn't going to be Hebrew, because Hebrew was special for prayer and for study. And it was going to be a combination of a little bit of Hebrew, but also the local language. In this case, of course, in Spain, the local language was Spanish, and Ladino is a play off of that language. Does anybody know the name of another kind of Jewish language that Jews speak in other parts of the world?
Yiddish.
Maybe other parts of you. What was it? I didn't hear.
Yiddish.
Yiddish, exactly.
Yiddish.
Exactly. And Yiddish is also an amalgam. It's a mixture of different languages, but it is very much a creative Jewish language, just like Ladino is. Both Ladino and Yiddish were not just used to translate other things, but they were languages in which culture was created. And what Chaim Raphael, the grandfather, did is he held on to that culture from the old country. Even though he was from Greece, his traditions came, well, all the way back several hundred years when his family used to live in Spain. But you know what? I've talked too much, and I do want to at least get some dessert before we leave Tel Aviv. So let's do that. Let's get a little bit of dessert, and then we'll be on our way.
Shalom. מה שלומך?
בסדר, מה שלומך?
I'm very excited about our next stop. This way. Off to you.
בבקשה.
Okay, so I see here that not all of the ice cream is out yet. Friday
Yes.
was very busy, wasn't it?
Yes.
So now we're still replenishing what was all eaten already on Friday. Very nice. Before we continue about the ice cream, איפה אנחנו נמצאים? מה זה המקום הזה? אני אף פעם לא ראיתי את המקום הזה.
אנחנו עסק חדש, חודשיים עובדים, בשיא הקורונה התחלנו את העסק, בשוק לוינסקי בתל אביב, ישראל.
So wait, so you started your business 2 months ago in the height of Corona?
כן, אנחנו צריכים להמשיך את החיים, לעבוד, ולא להיכנע לקורונה.
So you don't want to give, that's amazing.
Thank you.
What were you doing before? מה עשיתם לפני זה?
לפני זה אנחנו ניהלנו גם כן מסעדה, גם באוכל פרסי וגם היה לנו סנדוויץ' פיתה גריל, עבודה טובה מאוד, אוכל טעים מאוד.
It was a very hard job, but it sounds to me that if you opened up this ice cream place in the middle of Corona, that hard work doesn't seem to scare you. אתם לא מפחדים מעבודה קשה.
לא.
לא, זה בטוח, that's for sure. But you know,
חיים בשביל לחיות צריך לעבוד, אין מה לעשות.
so in order to live, you have to work, and it's very nice. But you know, you said that the restaurant was Persian food. אמרת שזה אוכל פרסי.
נכון.
So is this Persian ice cream?
I have 2 Persian ice cream. כן, יש לי גלידה פרסית, אסלני פרסי.
Wow, so you know what? We're going to get to the ice cream in just a second. I'm getting ahead of myself. Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Iran.
You're from Iran. When did you arrive in
אני
Israel? When did you make
הגעתי
Aliyah?
לישראל בשנת 1979.
So it was right before the revolution or right after?
Exactly after.
Exactly after.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. And you
It's
came.
just begin and
And then you came. זה
אני-
התחיל,
כן,
ואז
כן.
הגעתם. יפה, וואו.
עדיין היו טיסות. זה בין הטיסות האחרונות, אנחנו באנו ליוון ומשם לקחנו
Wow,
טיסה.
that's
עשינו עלייה, כן.
unbelievable. So you know, sometimes when people leave the old country, they leave it behind and they're just here. But do you have memories of Iran?
Sure.
As a child?
Sure. I was בת 14.
You were 14 years old when
14.
you left.
Yes, I came here. אני יודעת לקרוא, לכתוב.
And you still write?
אני רואה סרטים, אני מבינה הכל, כן.
Wow. And this particular kind of ice cream, are there people originally from Iran who come here
Yes.
and are looking for a taste of the old
Yes.
country who were so excited? Is that
ווארי,
true?
מאוד מאוד. כל היוצאי איראן, יהודים יוצאי איראן, שטעמו את הגלידה הזאת פעם, עוד לפני המהפכה, או שבתקופה שהם עוד חיו בפרס, אהבו את הטעם הזה, ולא זוכים לעשות טיול בפרס בחזרה, בשביל להרגיש את הטעמים הקולינריים שאפשר. אני מאוד שמחה שאני מממשת להם את האפשרות לבוא, לאכול, ליהנות ולהיזכר, ולא לאבד את הטעם הטעים.
Wow, that is amazing. So not being able to do a culinary tour of their home country, now living in their other home country, they have memories of their other home country.
Exactly.
And it's this, it brings it all alive.
כן, אני יכולה לתת להם להרגיש את הטעם הזה עוד פעם מחדש.
You know, it's interesting.
מה שהם לא יכולים לעשות.
I think that the ice cream is a great example of the fact that we have roots in so many different places, and we are in fact the sum total of all of the parts.
Exactly.
Well, I've never been to Iran, but would it be okay if I tasted the Persian ice cream?
Sure, you.
Excellent. So while you're giving me this, what other flavors do you have here? איזה טעמים יש?
מנטה,
We have mint chocolate, with,
קופי, אספרסו,
wow, white chocolate espresso, caramel pecan, French vanilla, passiflora, passion fruit. Wow. But you know what? I'm going to go with the Persian Bastani Palsi. Oh, Bastani, that's the name of the ice cream place. What does Bastani mean?
Bastani means glida.
It means ice cream.
Ice cream in Farsi.
In Persian. Wow, יפה.
This is with saffron.
Wow, with saffron. Pistachio, it has rose water, saffron.
Yes.
Wow, unbelievable. Okay, all right, here we go. Whoa.
Persian people are very, very happy to eat.
Oh my goodness. You have to try this. Oh wait, no, it doesn't work that way. Sorry.
Okay.
When you come back, this is going to be our first stop. We'll start with dessert. Why not? Wow, this is great. And Sohela, what does your name Sohela mean?
אלא זה בפרסית, זה כלילות.
In Persian, Sohela is klilut, which is somebody who is lighthearted, who doesn't take things too heavily.
Yes.
את לא לוקחת בכך.
זורמת.
את זורמת. You go with the flow.
כן.
Well, listen, If you took yourself into your own hands and started this in the middle of Corona, I get it. And the ice cream is delicious. Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for you too.
תודה רבה. Oh wait, how do you say thank you in Persian?
ממנון.
Mamnoon.
כן.
Mamnoon, Saila.
חוש ומעדים.
Okay, well, that was really good ice cream, I got to tell you. But we have places to go and people to see. So what we're going to do is we're going to fly away here and make our way back to Jerusalem. I know we were there already, but we're going to try and see it a little bit differently. Maybe what we'll do, this is the old city of Jerusalem we remembered from last time. We went in through Jaffa Gate. We're going to go through a different gate this time. So let's zoom on down to a place called Damascus Gate. And actually, you know what? Let's spin around. We're standing on top of the gate. This is actually part of the walls. Remember, there are walls around the old city. We're looking into the old city now, and we're looking into one of the quarters of the old city, which is actually the Muslim quarter. And we can even see the golden dome of the rock over there. But what we're going to do is spin around. Oh, it just froze. Let's unfreeze ourselves. We're going to spin around, and we'll look out of the gate into an area known as East Jerusalem. And I think our guide is somewhere down below over here. Oh, by the way, this particular guy likes to talk a lot. So if I see that he's talking a little bit too much, I might move him along a bit.
So here we are in the middle of, well, you know what? Hold on just 1 second. Ah, that's better. It's close by, not to worry. So we're standing right in front of one of the gates of the old city of Jerusalem. It's interesting, most people who travel to Israel will make their way through the Jaffa Gate, and it's an incredible place to enter into the city. This is not the Jaffa Gate. This is called, in Hebrew, Shar Shechem. It's also called Damascus Gate, and in Arabic it's called Bab El Amud. And maybe we can talk about the reasons for that in just a moment. But I wanted to share with you is that this particular gate is one of 7 gates that are currently open to enter into the old city of Jerusalem. There are 8 gates altogether. We're also in a very busy area, a part which is known as East Jerusalem. And this gate here, which is on the northwestern side of the old city, opening up the road to what was Shechem, Nablus, or to Damascus, hence the name, is one of the most impressive gates of the old city of Jerusalem. Now, what you're looking at is only from the year 1538, when Suleiman the Great, after the Ottoman Empire had conquered the land of Israel from the Mamluks, is the one who's going to build up this gate and the walls of the old city of Jerusalem in all their grandeur. But with all of the beautiful ornamentation, the towers, and with the incredible insignias on the gate and the slits in the wall, as you can probably imagine, well, there are multiple layers to this gate, and Suleiman was not the first to create an entryway into the city of Jerusalem. Let's go see what else is down below. So we've come down below. We've descended towards the gate itself. And, oh, sorry about that. We've descended down below, and we're about to enter into the gate. I mentioned Suleiman the Great. I mentioned layers, but I didn't really touch on the fact that this is a major artery into the old city of Jerusalem. The city of Jerusalem is the capital of the state of Israel, is a vibrant place. So many different entryways, so many different perspectives. And there's so many things that we could talk about, which we won't. For example, I could stand here and talk about the fact that we're in East Jerusalem. And what does that mean? East Jerusalem versus West Jerusalem. I could talk about the fact that around me you see people who are Israeli, and you see people who are Palestinians, and you see people who are Jerusalemites. And sometimes those things interconnect, and sometimes they don't. I could talk about, well, a lot of things, which I won't right now. I do want to point out this incredible space. And the fact that as incredible as this looks, Suleiman wasn't the first one to create an entryway into the old city here. Back then, it wasn't called the old city of Jerusalem. It was just called Jerusalem. And what I want to show you before we enter into the old city is actually an earlier example of one of those gates that I was talking about. And once again,
so again, Uri likes to go and talk a lot. I'll just tell you that he wanted to point out a gate from the Roman period in the year 131 to the Common Era, a guy by the name of Hadrian. Hadrian wasn't so good to the Jews, so maybe we won't talk about him so much. And why don't we just go right into the old city?
Layers the past, and we're going to check out the old city. Follow me. We're right now inside the old city of Jerusalem, in the heart of the Muslim quarter. Different. Okay, I know it's around here somewhere.
I can promise you, if you were in Israel, you were never here.
Oh, we found it. Great. So we're actually in an incredible shop. This is a Trina factory. And it belongs to this gentleman that we just walked by, Yitzhak Jubrani. And this place has been in his family for hundreds of years. And this Trina factory is it's a very well-known place here in the heart of the Muslim quarter in the Old City. Follow me. This is where all the magic happens. This stone has been doing this for 250 years. Before we talk about the final product, let's see where the actual magic begins. So if you look in the back of the factory, when they receive the sesame, they're going to peel the sesame, then they're going to wash it in a mixture of water and salt, then they're going to wash it from the salt in water, then they're going to go over to the oven and roast it over there in the corner, and then it's laid out here to cool off, and then it goes on top of that big funnel and into the grinder as you see. Let's check it out. The sesame seeds themselves are taken from Africa. That's where they're purchased. They're brought here and they're dropped into that big funnel. They then make their way into these stones, and you can kind of see how the trina is being made right now. From here, it's going to be pumped into a collection basin over here, and then through a tube, pumped up to a second story just above it.
This was a movie a long time ago called Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I know there was a remake with Johnny Depp. This is the original one, and that Trina pump reminded me of this scene.
Yeah, I remember this.
I watched both versions. I watched the new one and the old one.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is way worse than Willy Wonka.
Yitzhak is now filling that trina, which is just made from that stone over there. Incredible. By the way, 40 shekels, a great deal for excellent trina. There, that's my pitch. This is trina for sure. All right, this is great.
So actually, it was really good trina. I don't know if you guys ever. Sometimes it's called tahini, but
We have a lot of it at home. We use it almost all the time.
Yeah, we love it. I love it. You put it on eggplant. You put it on anything, really. But you know what? I know we have about 6 minutes left. There's one more spot I want to show you guys. And you actually saw part of it last week when we were together, last time we were together. That's the Western Wall. But I wanted to show you the Western Wall through the eyes of an Israeli and to invite you to join me at a very special ceremony, which was the swearing in ceremony for my daughter when she finished her basic training in the combat unit that she's in, a unit of men and women who are in a specialized unit in the Army. And at the end of their basic training, they come here for ceremoniously receiving their weapon and receiving a Bible. And they have a declaration of allegiance that they shout out to the state of Israel. So you'll see where there's Hebrew, there's going to be subtitles. And again, you recognize the place. We put notes in there last time we were together. Let's, we remember this view. We're going to just speed through here because we saw this already. Remember, we put the notes in the wall, and then it shifts to the ceremony. All the parents will be standing around. That's my daughter in the blue jacket there with her friends.
Why isn't it a video? Oh, never mind.
This was still the practice runs. They were still warming up. And soon, when it gets darker, we start the actual ceremony.
שמאל, ימין, שמאל. מסדר, עמוד. המסדר יפנה לימין, ימינה, פנה. המסדר יעבור לנוח, עמוד נוח. המסדר יעבור לדום. מסדר, דום. הנני נשבע ומתחייב בהן צדקי. הנני נשבע ומתחייב בהן צדקי. לשמור אמונים למדינת ישראל. לשמור אמונים למדינת ישראל. לחוקיה ולשלטונותיה המוסמכים. לחוקיה ולשלטונותיה המוסמכים. לקבל על עצמי ללא תנאי וללא סייג. לקבל על עצמי ללא תנאי וללא סייג. עוד משמעתו של צבא ההגנה לישראל. עוד משמעתו של צבא ההגנה לישראל. לציית לכל הפקודות וההוראות. לציית לכל הפקודות וההוראות. הניתנות על ידי המפקדים המוסמכים. הניתנות על ידי המפקדים המוסמכים. להקדיש את כל כוחותיי. להקדיש את כל כוחותיי. ואף להקריב את חיי. ואף להקריב את חיי. להגנת המולדת. להגנת המולדת. ולחירות ישראל. ולחירות ישראל. לוחמים הישבו. המפקד נשמע. מפקדי קורסים ומש"קים חלקו כלי נשק. המחשבות העדשות נשמע מהיום הזה שבא מילה אחת פשוטה בחיי.
עם ישראל חי. גאה בכם, סומך עליכם, עלו והצליחו.
מסדר יעבור לדום. מסדר, דום. המסדר יעבור לנוח, עמוד, נוח.
המסדר יעבור לדום, מסדר, דום. המסדר יחטיף את נשקו. החטף, שק! המפקד, תם הטקס. מפקד. המסדר יפנה לימין. ימינה, פנה! קדימה, צעד!
So obviously there's a lot more that we could have shared, but I wanted to, the last moment, even though we've seen the Western Wall and you might have even put notes in the Western Wall, to see it through a different lens, the lens of parents over here watching their kids and kids who aren't so much kids, right? They're 18, they're 19 years old, who have made a decision, well, to protect this place. And
My
you should
dad did it.
know, and you may have already known this, that when you're 18 here, you don't go right to college, you go to the army. It's not that people want to, that's not it. And we're much more than just the army or just war. But that's also part of who we are. And to watch these young people make a decision that they're willing to do what they need to do to protect this place.
My dad did it.
He did, wow. So you know what I'm talking about.
I thought it was a requirement.
It is a requirement, but for women, don't have to go to combat. You have to volunteer for that, which she did. And when you do, you sign on an extra year. So both the men and the women in combat units will serve for 3 years. And it's something. And the truth is, even though it's a requirement, if you don't want to do in combat, there's ways around it. But what we have is a young generation who's willing to put to take a pause in perhaps what they hope to do for themselves, and they think of, well, the greater picture. But you know what?
I have a question.
Yes.
So if you're a man, in you there, and you get basically drafted. What year can you drink alcohol? Because you can get drafted before you can even drink alcohol, right?
In Israel, the drinking age is 18. So it's the same as
Oh,
it's the same as being drafted. Yeah. What I was going to say is that while I share different gems here in Israel in different moments, what's special to me is the fact that you guys are on this Zoom, not because you came to see me, but that you're part of your synagogue, you're part of your religious school, your families, you also. I'm sure there's ways you could probably get out of it. You could shut your screen, you could do something else, and the fact that you care enough to be a part of this, you should know is very meaningful because you too are finding your way in how do you strengthen the Jewish people. And everybody does a little part. So there you go. So, guys, thank you very much. It was a great pleasure to travel around Israel and show you some really hidden places and to introduce you to some of my family. And who knows, maybe when you guys come, I can point you in the right direction for those amazing hikes and get that great ice cream.
That would be amazing. Thank you, Uri. What can everybody say to him? You can unmute yourselves. And what can everybody say?
Thank you. That was awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That was really awesome.
Tada.
Thank you. Are we doing it again?
This is it, unfortunately.
No.
thank you.
Times.
It was really fun.
I like
Thank
the
you.
part that at the like in the middle or something where you went in like the what's it, like in the thing with the water, like a small spot with the
The
water.
cave? Yeah,
I want to go there.
cool.
There are many caves in Israel, correct?
There are many caves. They're not
How are
all.
you not scared?
What'd you say?
How are you not scared from the how are you not scared from the cave?
Well, you know what? I was a little scared, but that's okay. I got through it. It was a little. When I turned the light off, did you notice I turned the flashlight off in the middle? It got really dark, but it was okay. It worked out.
What if you dropped the flashlight in the water and then you couldn't find it and then